Alright, welcome to this video about GitHub Copilot. So where I will be covering about everything about Copilot from basics to advanced, how you can use the Copilot and how to do a basic sample queries and everything. Alright, so let's understand what is Copilot. So in this current world, 46% of the code is written on Copilot. All the new code is generated by AI. And 50% faster code development in the community, and 44% developers feel more focused and satisfying with the use of Copilot, which means that this is the new age of coding. This is the new way of the coding going to be look like. And from my perspective, I can see how this is going ahead. For example, GitHub is planning to launch a GitHub Copilot course. This is like a professional certification course by GitHub, and personally did the beta, and now they are going to launch on October of 2024. This is a beginning to something. This is something like GitHub is trying to push the Copilot features into more business users. They are spending more on the GitHub sponsoring on the GitHub Copilot. So the push is going to this particular way, and how this is going to be helpful. The Copilot only costs $10 per user, and it can really boost the developer. So this can literally reduce the headcount of particular organization. For example, if there is like a 5 developers need for a data engineering role, now they only need maybe around 2 people. So they don't need 5 people, because 2 people can be more focused. It says that for 55% fast development, that's almost like a half. So 2 people can do 5 people's of work just by using the Copilot. So now let me introduce you how it has been used in the community. For example, this is like a short video about how the Copilot been happening. Now in the year of 2020, there was something happening like GitHub start experimenting with the OpenAI models. So this is not even the time where ChatGPT was publicly available. So OpenAI was there, and GitHub was even trying on the OpenAI models. And in 2021 mid, they started launching the technical preview of Copilot on the Visual Studio Code. Then they became it publicly make available to the general audience on 2022 mid. So this is like a very recent technology, and I would say I was the initial beta tester. I would say that when comparing to the initial version and how the Copilot in 2024, it's completely so big. Now you can see in 2023 mid, Copilot launched for business for general audience. Now there is something coming up which is called Copilot X, which is going to be mind blowing. I don't know what all features right now. Even it's mind blowing how the Copilot is able to understand what the code looks like. Now, the Copilot is also there in the Microsoft 365 apps right now. So this is something different, right? Now we are talking about how it's different from the ChatGPT. I'm not sure why the slides is not appearing properly. Let me have a look into it. Just give me a minute. All right, so this is how it looks comparing to the ChatGPT. So ChatGPT model works on the natural language understanding and generation. So here its primary purpose is like code generation. So it's more inclined towards the code related thing, and both were running on GPT 3.5. The only thing is like, so it's kind of integrated with the Visual Studio Codes. It's much more easier, I would say. It's much more easier in understanding the way you code and understanding the structure. So I will show you a demo at the end of this video, how it looks like. Now, in terms of other thing is like it's a supervised learning with the code examples. It has been trained based on the GitHub, and it's mostly focused on writing code, refactoring the code documentation, and all kind of thing. And it has limited API access for specific use cases. And in case of subscription, is subscription based, and it's not the usage based on the API calls. Now it also when comparing to the data privacy thing, I would definitely recommend Copilot. So if you enable to get the data from the public, you can use it. And one more thing is like it doesn't share your code to the OpenAI or something. But in ChatGPT, whatever you search, the search will go into the OpenAI to train the particular AI models and improve the OpenAI in general. But here the code, whatever you do, is safe, and you can define it in your own way. Now, when it comes to Copilot, so this is how it looks like. Currently, it supports Visual Studio Code, Neo, Vim, VS Code, JetBrains, and PyCharm, right? Now, what it does is like it works on the OpenAI. It gives you context and suggestions based on your code you typed. Now, once it enabled, this is how it looks like. All you need to do is like highlight, explain the code, and if you just type the definition, it will give you the code suggestions and whether you can accept it or not. So this kind of overall reduce the time you spend for the code to work. So this is how the OpenAI Codex model works, and this is how the GitHub service looks like. And this GitHub editor suggests you provide some suggestions, and you can use that, and it eventually improve the suggestions and it comes back to you. Now, if you are first time using the GitHub Copilot, what happens is like it will take your code suggestions, it will try to understand what kind of coding you basically done, and basically it improves the more you try to use it. So eventually if you use it for like 6 months, it will better understand your code and how it works. Again, some issue with my slides. Let me try to reload it. Give me a minute. All right, so this is how it looks like, the GitHub Copilot. It kind of gathers the context of like the file name you're using, like whether it's ending in .py or JavaScript or something like that, and it opens the file and try to read the comments, and it performs the analyze the code before you press on the cursor over there. So that's how fast it is looks like. Now, in terms of the pattern recognition, it tried to understand how the pattern is being you've been doing the pattern, and it suggests code based on your pattern as well. All right, now this is how a code snippet looks like. So you type a function over here and installing the prerequisites. So it kind of gives you complete suggestions based on your code. Now there is like a feedback over here. So half of a documentation of SLICL has been written using Copilot. So this is crazy. The companies are using it in a very productive way. Now, these are some shortcuts for the Mac OS and shortcut for the Windows. Again, this particular slide, you can find it on the description below. All right. So now I kind of give you a glimpse of what's really happening. It's like 88% of faster code completion has been done through it, and 87% of less mental effort being done on the repetitive tasks, and 77% of less time in searching the things, and you focus on the particular flow, and it kind of makes the developer life easy. And on the other side, it's kind of evolving. So you should my recommendation would be something like you should be adopting the new technology, and you should be ready to adopt in your coding culture. So this would be much more easy for you to comparing to the other coders out there who's hesitant to understand what is Copilot and how to move along with it. So this is by far, this is how the feedback been happening. So even I was skeptical about when the Copilot was released, but when I use in my organization, it seems like pretty easy for me to understand how, and easy for me to code, and the redundant task can be done in one click. So that's something amazing that saves a lot of time over here. So now there is something called GitHub Copilot X is coming out. So this is like not something crazy, but it is something very amazing to see how the Copilot X is going to be. So I'm really excited to take the learning into that particular phases. Now there is something called GitHub Copilot Business and GitHub Copilot Enterprises. So the business is available for the business version. So basically, like in business, it will allow you to control who can use the GitHub Copilot in your company. So once you give them access to that particular organization, so it's the admin can access to give the individual to access to the GitHub Copilot. So you can have the access to understand the mobility and IP address, and you can ensure that the privacy inside your code base. Now there is something called GitHub Copilot for Enterprises. So what happened is like it includes everything in the GitHub Copilot business, as well as additional layer of personalization and organizational integration like SSO logins or something like that. And it also helps you to GitHub Copilot Enterprise can index an organizational code base for a deeper understanding for the customer knowledge, and can provide much more relevant knowledge to you. All right, now who want a demo of GitHub Copilot? How it looks like? All right, so let me give you a demo of GitHub Copilot and how it looks like. All right, now let me go into my code space. Before that, I hope you guys followed my instructions and downloaded the GitHub Copilot, and not GitHub Copilot, GitHub Student Developer Pack. If you have not done that, if you are a student or a teacher, you can Student Developer Pack. You can get the GitHub Pro and GitHub Copilot for free. So just refer to the previous top video in the playlist. Go to the Git and GitHub playlist over there and apply for this. Your Copilot will be enabled. So all you need to do is like activate this Copilot with your GitHub account. then go to your extension in the Visual Studio Code, search for Copilot. Okay, so GitHub Copilot is over here. Try to install this GitHub Copilot for here, and also install the GitHub Copilot over here. Now, what really happens over here is something like, now once you install GitHub Copilot chat, you will be able to see this extension over here, right? Now, it will also ask you to authenticate your GitHub Copilot access. So you can see that GitHub Copilot chat is trying to use your GitHub account and verifying that, okay, you have the access to the GitHub Copilot or not. Now you go back to your, so this is my GitHub README profile over here. Now what you can do is like, when you type in the GitHub at workspace is the current active window over here. Explain what is this code all about. See, now it kind of trying to understand what I have written over here, and it will give me a glimpse about what this entire code base is all about. Sometimes it might take some time for, in order to process, because there is like a lot of code over here. But if you just specify what you need, so it will definitely quickly grab that thing for you. All right, give it some time. So let's see what it comes back with. All right, that didn't happen as we intended. So you can just mention like, at workspace, explain the code from line 2 to line 11. So this would be much more easy because we are giving into the particular thing. So I think it still have some problem understanding my current workspace. So let's stop that. Let's copy this, explain the code from line 1 to 12. So now it was able to get which workspace I'm defining. So it's automatically checking this readme.md file, which is currently active, and it's kind of trying to explain this code to me. Or otherwise you can highlight the code over here just like this, and you can ask the Copilot explain this. Or if you feel like, okay, something is missing, for example, so here you can see it's kind of generating the code. So meanwhile you can see I'm going to remove this P. Now this is broken, so you can see an alert over here. Now you can just highlight this. Now you can click on fix this. So it's kind of generating inside in your code base. So you can see it's kind of generating over here. Let me close this for easy access. So it will kind of find what is missing, and it will give you a suggestion based on that. Now my entire internet is kind of slow right now, and there is like a Copilot already running over here. So let me stop this process and stop this. Let me try it again here. Close Copilot, fix this. Yeah. And there is like a shortcut key for Ctrl+I, where you can click on that and Copilot will help you understanding what this is all about. All right. Sometimes it takes a lot of time. Just ignore that for now. I think usually it's because of my network connectivity issues happening right now, because that is not able to communicate well. So this is what you can do. You can add these files into the chat. So what will happen is like it will go into the chat. So you can see that will be added to over here, and you can ask questions based on that. And also if you ask for explain this, it will explain the code for you rather than copy pasting. So initially what we used to do is like you go and copy paste this in the ChatGPT. So what happens in ChatGPT, they doesn't know the code before it, because you have not provided clear information. Now here the Copilot has access to the entire code base, so they know what exactly you're doing. Now if you ask to add more details, for example, when you click on this star button over here, so here you can type add more details in detail tab. So it kind of generate a particular code base for you to add more information, and you don't have to code literally. All right, so this is how it looks like in terms of code base. And once it is completed, you can approve this suggested changes. You have a tick option over here, you can enable that. That's how this things works. And right now I don't want that, so I'm closing it. And also you can add a comment, like for example, add, how to add comments. So there is like another way that you can add a comment and it autofills. For example, let me type details over here and summary. I don't think the GitHub Copilot is launched properly in my system, so when you type, it automatically gives you some suggestions over here. Now it also helps you in the terminal. For example, in the terminal, if you have something wrong, for example this one, you can click over here. Oh, this is my bash, maybe that's why. Check into the PowerShell. Git status. So nothing to commit. So you don't know what this is all about. You right click over here, copy paste, come back here. See, it will explain you what exactly that is, that particular thing. Nothing to commit. Right? It's kind of explaining like crazy. Now also you can test type @ terminal. What's this? Oh, usually it will have a terminal and you can oh, I don't know what's happening, but usually it will be having access to the terminal and it can help you over here. So this is how the Copilot can help you in terms of coding, and it makes you the entire process easy. And you can see, oh, this is disabled. Status ready disabled. Okay, now it's enabled. That's why I was not able to, you know, I was not able to do the Copilot over here. All right, that's great. That's great. All right. All right, let me try it again. Terminal, explain. So it kind of find what's in my terminal and help you to get the changes. So that's how all about GitHub Copilot and how you can activate it. Now let's have some time to understand what you have learned. All right, post this particular screen for some time and try to answer this question. What is GitHub Copilot? All right. So GitHub Copilot is an AI pair programmer that can help you to get code suggestion. And the next one is like, what are the supported integrated development environment that extension for GitHub Copilot? So the first thing is like Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio, NeoVim, JetBrains. That's the what supported right now. Now post the screen again. What's the difference between GitHub Copilot Business and GitHub Copilot Enterprises? Can anybody see that? Post the screen and see whether you get the answer correct. All right, so basically it's something like an extra layer of protection, personalization to organization, and use their own code base to train the GitHub Copilot. So this is something crazy, like, right? All right, so in the next one, we will be also talking about how to use Copilot in your code space, and I will be talking about the code space as well. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you got some kind of information regarding the Copilot and how you can use it. And if there is any issues or doubts, just comment in the comment box below. Thank you.